enough about me, let's talk about LondonR. And long story short, I'm impressed. It was great. It was really a good event. It was fun. There were talks, there was snacks, there were good people, there were great conversations, there were everything you'd hope for. Absolutely worth going. So my short message here today is next time, let's go together, right? Next time, let's get it going. Thank you, yes, it would be Paul and me, perfect. And so, just like here, that's what we see here in BrightonR, they really went out of the way to make everybody feel welcome. It was a very cool crowd. It was open, friendly, useful, and high quality. There was a lot of encouragement, I noticed, for trying out everything that was being showed. So it wasn't not just being showed, it was being shared. So there was GitHub repository or whatever. There was code sharing as standard. So I think it is really cool. There were some differences. The breaks in the schedule were strategic, and they were for networking. And people came prepared for that. So there was a lot of practiced pitches, and there were business cards being pushed at you, and there was like LinkedIn links on the phones. So there was a lot of that. So it felt a little bit more like a conference than it did like a meetup like we've had here, which is cool, which is great. Great for networking. They really took the networking element seriously. They call LondonR's the UK's premier R user group. I think they've sort of thrown down the gauntlet here for Jeremy. They also run the annual EARL Conference, Enterprise Applications in R, so you can also go to that. Cool people. It's owned by and run by the firm formerly known as Mango Solutions, Dayo's old employer. They've been since acquired by Ascent, and so it's a company called Ascent that runs this nowadays. And there's a fingerprint of difference to BrightonR and LondonR based on that. I will admit to one surprise as I arrived there. The attendance was surprisingly sparse, which I assume is related to the pandemic. Okay, so here's the event program. Here's what we actually did. It started with a demonstration of a natural language processing project in the form of a deep dive tutorial. There was lots of code gadgetry, data science discussion in there, machine learning. That was really good. The model's goal was to guess the music genre given the lyrics, except here's the twist. All the songs were heavy metal. You had to guess the subgenre of heavy metal. Okay, so the next one was a lot more serious. It was somewhat, even if I may say so, old-fashioned academic talk, sort of academic talk / business talk. But it was on the return on investment in real estate markets, the various markets from retail, industry, and business real estate. Basically gave a peek into the statistical methods, factor modeling, etc., inside the world of high finance and asset management. Then the third item, there was a gem of a talk. And this was a very quick, very fun, educational presentation on using R to power a Twitter bot. And then finally, the last one was a practical discussion on a constraints of moving a client from SaaS to R in an enterprise context for analytics. Now, I know you're sitting there thinking, oh, I wish I'd gone. Oh, it's gone. Oh, I missed it. Yeah? Well, not really. You haven't really missed it. Because the clever people there, just like here, recorded it all. Hit that link, you can see all those videos, all the things that I was just describing. And since you are a pre-selected group that likes our talks, I'm going to assume you're all going to hit this. You're all going to go there, you're going to see this. So I don't have to talk into too much detail about all these, but I will talk, I'm just going to highlight one of them. And that is the presentation by Matt Dre. because I really liked it. He showed us how to make an R-powered Twitter bot, like make R-write Twitter, and it's called London Map Bot. And this bot, every few hours, will post a satellite photo from a random location in London. Here it is. Along with its coordinates and a link to OpenStreetMap, so you can first try to guess and then click and figure out where in London that spot is. And it was really cool. He talked about the process of building it. He showed examples from people who have taken his code and built their own versions. And he's collected all those tweetbots into a Twitter list called Matbotverse, because that's in. And he really encouraged the audience to go and make a personalized version. So, short diversion here. In 2004, HarperCollins published this tome, this 4.5-star on Amazon tome called London, the Photographic Atlas. And this book has been described by no other than Beryl as giving hours of pleasure. Honestly, I do agree. I'm sold. I love maps. I love satellite photos. I'm the target audience for this, and so I love how this brings context to places. You know, you think of streets you've walked countless times, and then you see a satellite photo. You see a map of it, or see it from a bird's eye view, and there are, apart from the aesthetics, there are connections and patterns, contexts. Shortcuts and pathways, and they jump. You never notice them, but they jump from invisible to obvious. So, for that reason, I decided to make my own Matbot. And I took, Matt shared his recipe, so easy peasy, right? Just put these ingredients together, cook them in your computer, and out it comes. Yes, kind of. So, here's what you need. You need to first set up a developer account on Twitter. That's easy peasy. I tried setting up OAuth 2.0 connection to Twitter, but I tried to use the Twitter's app bearer token to post. That didn't work out. I never got that to work. The R-tweet package that Matt uses, that requires you to use version 1.0. It's not updated for 2.0. So to do that, you need an elevated API access, something that Matt mentioned but glossed over as a very trivial thing. Turns out that requires a conversation with Twitter, where you say, "Can I please have elevated access, please? Pretty please?" And they, a day later, will say, "Sure, but you just have to explain what is the use case for this." "Oh, that's easy. I'm going to post satellite photos." And I say, no. What is the business use case for this? "Oh, I'm posting satellite photos of Brighton." And then they say, "What is the business problem you're trying to solve?" And you say, "The lack of satellite photos of Brighton on Twitter." Actually, I went a little bit more grandiose. I'm going to read this phrase to you. "It will enrich Twitter's ecosphere of creativity." That level of bullshit was enough to convince them. I'm not recommending it, but just if you have your troubles, be forewarned. Then the next step is to get Mapbox access. And that's easy, that's 4 minutes. You get your API key right away. And then you need to go and collect geo-coordinates. See, Matt had an easy problem, London. He could just set fixed lat long bounding box, no problem. And he's basically got the M25. Every once in a while, he told us, the bot chooses something and somebody retweets or responds, "That's not technically London." Yeah. But we can't do that, because if we did that here in Brighton, 20% of the time our patch would be in the ocean. So instead, what I did was we went to google.co.uk and got all the postcodes inside BN1, BN2, and BN3, and their geo-coordinates. And then we can just randomly sample. Then got myself a copy of Matt's repo, and then I changed pretty much every word in it, or every character in it, and installed the R-tweet package, of course. You need to push to GitHub, and then here's the magic. Here's the magic that happens. Something has to run this bot and do this every few hours. And that is called Github Actions. That magic is called Github Actions. And really, to make Github Actions happen, you need this file. In a hidden directory on the root of your project directory, you put workflows and bot.yaml, and that's the magic ingredient. Oh. It's a managed service. It launches an instance, runs scripts. It can be configured to run just about anything. It gets triggered by either a git push, a git pull request, or you can push it on schedule. Yeah, if you want to understand more about GitHub Actions, I do recommend this talk by James Hester from 2020 RStudio Conference. Hit the QR code for that. That lays it all out pretty well. The whole idea with this, by the way, this is for continuous integration and continuous development. It's to run linters and update your documentation, etc. So this is for serious developer work, and we're just riding on the coattails of that. Here is what your YAML will look like. I don't know if you can read this, probably not. There are just a few segments here. The first one is the schedule, just a cron code. This just says run on the 19 minutes over and 42nd minute over every 6 hours. That's cron, that's easy enough. Then you do the job specification, which is you give it a name, you give it an environment, and then the task-specific environments. You need to put your API keys in there because you don't want to share your API keys with your GitHub repo. So instead you put your API keys in GitHub under settings, find secrets, secret actions, and then hit new repository secret for each of these, type in your API keys so that you can reference them inside the GitHub action instance. And the last thing is just the steps that your instance is going to run when it's launched. Now, we need R installed in our environment. We need our tweet package installed in this environment. This is an ephemeral environment, so this will need to be launched every time and installed every time. I also need a tidyverse, because I always need tidyverse. And here is how you can get the R language set up. There is a GitHub Actions for the R language under rlib. Follow the QR code if you're curious. But basically, that script runs the installation of R itself, and then we use R itself to install the others used by the command line R script. So that's simple and easy. Next, you need to grab the frame, compose the tweet, and post to Twitter with something called bot.r. And that is quite simple. There's nothing complicated in this R script. There's just installation. So I took Matt's code, broke it all up into functions, so that source each of the function type. So set up the environment, select random coordinates, get the coordinates, from coordinates get the satellite image, post as a tweet, and then log the run. It's as simple as it gets. To get the coordinates, well, we have the 3 data files from BN1, BN2, and BN3, and you actually randomly select one of the input files, randomly select a row inside the data frame it returns. And the same thing with Mapbox requests. I don't think there's anything extremely interesting in the codes. Maybe if there is a question about that, I can go into that. I just wanted to tell you, as of last week, the Brighton Mapbot is posting on Twitter every 6 hours. It'll be posting in the next post by the time we reach the bar. It has no discernible use case, and it solves no business problem, but please don't tell Twitter. I just hope it will give Beryl hours of pleasure. This weekend, it got inducted into the Matbotverse. And less than a week after it started posting, the world's richest man bought the entire social media platform. And I don't know how superstitious you are, but I do not believe in coincidences.